So, BMW M4 Competition, is it still the king of its class? Let's find out.
The winner is Car Right!
So, you join us back up at the Abolodrome. The first place to start with the M4 is going to be the styling, because I've always been a really big fan of the F-Series styling for the M4. Really nice muscular curves, big power bulge on the bonnet, and it just had really nice hunky, chunky shoulders, which the M2 for this series didn't do. Unfortunately, I think you are undisputably in the know that this isn't just a standard 4 Series. Some of you eagle-eyed viewers and people that aren't blind might have seen some funky looking colour wheels. We're touching those at the moment, but I'm a really big fan of the car. It's almost like a pearlescent. It's got loads of carbon fibre around the car. So obviously this is the competition version. So if you follow me here, some nice features and tweaks that you get. Nice big carbon roof. The carbon roof actually saves 6 kilograms. That might not sound a lot, but there's a lot of weight saving on this car. This has a massive big influence on driving, lower centre of gravity, much more rigidity through the chassis that we'll touch on in a bit as well, because there's some really funky features to do with how stiff this car is that puts it on par and above certain high performing supercars. Really nice aggressive exhaust on the back. The car's had some aftermarket carbon bits fitted, rear diffuser and spoiler with the tips, but it is pretty stock anyway. So part of the competition package, what did you get? You got more brake horsepower than the non-comp. You're up to 444, which was a 19 brake horsepower improvement. You get the sports exhaust as standard as well. If you bought a non-comp M4 and didn't spec a sports exhaust, I think you're mental anyway. And it also came with the high line shadow edition. So all of your A-pillars and everything was sort of murdered out in black. Really nice looking feature there. And there were some really big changes to the suspension dampers, and also the LSD that we're touching at the moment. But for the most of it, I think the car's really good looking. I love all the carbon around the car, but like I said, it is just cosmetically tweaked, not through the engine. It is still stock. It doesn't sound like a machine gun out of the rear. It's a pretty genuine example. So let's come to the wheels. Let's come on this way out, because you get a nice good look in the sunlight. So on top of the competition, you traditionally got the nice silver multi-spoke 20-inch wheels that are very synonymous with the competitions. However, these are the genuine M Motorsport CS lightweight forged alloy wheels, and I think they look absolutely mega. The sort of goldy bronze with the white, I think it's a really nice colour contrast. Let me know what you guys think. Let's jump inside though, because this car's got some really nice spec on the interior, and some also nice tweaks and changes that you get on the comp version that you don't on the standard M4 that we'll talk about as well. So you join us now for a bit of a chat about the interior, because I've always been a big fan of BMW interiors. They're very much catered to the driver. Everything's right where it should be, and that really is very synonymous with the BMW brand. Obviously, it is a driver's brand. Really, you're not buying an M4 for any other reason that you're just a bit of a car enthusiast, to be honest, which we will talk to you a little bit about in relation to the driving. But in terms of your driving position, really nice and comfortable. The steering wheel is beautiful. I've always liked the BMW steering wheels. I think they're the perfect thickness, which is quite a weird thing to mention. Mercs, although I have a Merc, I'm not 100% on Audis. I think are too thin and hard. BMW have just got it absolutely right. So interior spec for the car, you've got these really nice Falcona upgraded leather. You get this standard as part of the M4 Comp. They're almost like wing bucket seats, really nice. The M4 logo does illuminate in nighttime as well, which is really nice. Load of carbon fibre. This has got the optional carbon fibre interior trim. Big fan of carbon fibre. For this reason, it doesn't scratch, it's good as gold. So the piano black or any other different interior, it just sort of wears a little bit over time. This will hold its look. On top of that, it looks really cool. We've got a load of other features as well, so let's touch on those. So the seats are heated as well, much needed. Me and Al are making use of that because it is quite literally 2 degrees outside. On the lights, you've got the adaptive LED lights, and they've got high beam assist as well. Another massive feature that probably I think is a key if you're buying a car like this or any sort of premium German car, head-up display. Once you've had head-up display or live with it, it's very hard not to live with it. The head-up display is brilliant. It does configure between different drive modes as well. So if you're being a little bit raunchy on some B roads, it will change to show you rev, speed. If you're just cruising around turning your navs on, it will actually display the nav in front of you as well. It's got reverse camera and a parking assist, so front and rear sensors, all your other creature comforts you'd expect as well. Nav, Bluetooth, DAB radio. It does have wireless charging. However, if you have a big phone like me, can't do it. So, bummer. Apart from that though, everything else is, yeah, I'm really impressed with everything else. So let's go make some noise. Let's see how she gets on with the drive, because I want to talk to you about some of the big changes between, as we mentioned, the chassis and stiffness. Yeah, so let's get it on the road and see how she gets on and make some noise. So let's talk performance for this car then. So as I'm sure most of you know, it has the infamous S55 twin turbo N96 with this car producing 444 brake horsepower. We are up 19 brake horsepower to the non-competition. This car, in brackets, will do 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. Normally BMW lie about their figures for the wrong reason. They're normally quicker than they are, but I think you do very well to get this car 0 to 60. I'm not saying it's not quick, I'm just saying there's not a single chance in heaven today we're going to get anywhere near that with how icy and cold it all is. It's about 1.5–2 degrees currently where we are. So 0 to 60 is 4 seconds according to BMW. Top speed's 155 mile an hour limited too. We'll talk a little bit about that as we mentioned. So the car itself is actually crazy quick. Now for 444 brake horsepower, it feels a darn quick bit faster than that when the car's up and running. The turbo delivery, the actual power delivery is so linear and so smooth through the car. It's fantastic. Normally with the cars like these, so for instance the M140s and stuff, they fell off right at the top end. This M4 just keeps going, it keeps throwing. You can actually get this car to 7,500 RPM, that's the red line, but you want to work it. So for a turbocharged car up to 7,500 on the RPM with the power delivery so linear, it is mega. They have done some proper work, the boffins at BMW. So it is a two manual scroll turbos, one on each bank basically. So one on each of the 3 cylinders of the engine. It is a phenomenal car, this. The engine has so much capability, performance. Naturally, most people do tune these. You can run 500 brake horsepower very comfortably out of these. So we are going to do a little bit of a speed run here on Sheep Alley to see how it gets on. I am conscious of how wet and icy it is though, so we won't be doing it from 10:15. I'll probably be doing a second gear roll or pull just so to make sure I can let the owner know the owner is in the owner of the business, that I'm returning our car safely in one piece. Okay, so you're going to launch the car now. With the DCT boxes, actually, you can change the verocity, if you like, or the ferocity. Verocity, I made it word there. The ferocity. Ferocity. Yeah. You can change the ferocity of changes in between gears. The only problem with the with this gearbox as opposed to the ZF's a lot smoother. You get a bit more of an engaging gear change and thud where you'll literally feel it connect and thud straight through the car. The only problem is that does create a bit of a slip between changes. So being the case that it is 1 degree, we haven't got it in the most extreme of modes. So let's just roll the car up to a little bit of a sensible speed. We've got Sport Plus and everything else though. Up to 30 miles, I'm going to plant the car now. We are fighting to put the power down. There we are, power down now, we can rev. It's picking up beautifully well now. It revs so nicely right the way through the RPM, right up to 7,500 RPM. The lineage of the power delivery is absolutely astronomical. Like I said, the boffins at BMW, what they've created is a weapon. Naturally, like I said, it is bitterly icy cold today, so we really struggled in second and even third then to put the power down properly, but once the car's running and rolling, my God, does it pick up through the gears really nicely. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the changes. So one of the big changes was actually with the LSD, so it's a bit more of an aggressive tune for the LSD, so you can actually slide the car a lot nicer than you can the previous one. It creates a lot more of the MSM mode, which is the active stability control mode for the M series cars. The M4 Competition, they actually added a higher slip angle and a less of a tolerance for the slip of the actual wheel itself, allowing you to, in brackets, safely skid the car, is what BMW say. So not sure what a safe skid is. Not something I want to try today, to be honest, although it probably is the perfect condition to be skidding the car in these icy cold conditions, but not something I'm too comfortable with, knowing that if I break it, I have to pay for it. So let's talk about that. So controlled drifting or sliding is what they call it. So on top of that, there's some really big changes on the comp that we'll just discuss that I mentioned or highlighted to do with the springs, dampeners, and the actual chassis stiffness. So the actual car itself is 15% stiffer as a comp than the non-comp. It has a completely different setup for springs and dampers and also roll bars as well. There's no official figure for this, but I did some digging in quite a lot of the forums. Now, there's a thing called torsional rigidity. Now, I'm not going to go into it too much, because I don't really know how to explain it, but the torsional rigidity is measured per degree it's Newton meters basically per degree, right? There's suggestions, strong suggestions, that this car has 40,000 Newton meters of torque per degree. That is the torsional rigidity. Stay with me here. What that means is, that basically is how firm and stiff the car is through the chassis. Now, there are not verified reports, but there's substantial verification on this report. So that's more than a Ferrari 458. Now, if you Googled what a high-end supercar's torsional rigidity should be, they suggest it's 40 to 60,000 Newton meters of torque. So what you've got here, right, what BMW have managed to achieve is, I wouldn't say it's a family car, because it's not a family car, but you can get people in the back, there's a good size in the boot, you can have blistering performance, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, you have the structural rigidity and handling capabilities of near supercar level performance, if not supercar level performance, all for 30 odd grand now. Now, what's really interesting is, Alex, I want you to guess, how much do you think the competition cost above the standard M4 if you went DCT to DCT? So if you went automatic box to automatic box, what's your guess? How much more would you have to pay for the luxuries of all the bits we talked about? What do you think the uplift of cost is?
I reckon about 10 grand more.
10 grand?
Yeah.
It's 3.
Is it?
It's 3. And I'm not, from what I'm aware of, I think the EU actually did away with non-comps from a certain age. And I think for that reason, because the competition was such good value for money over the standard non-comp, you'd be mental not to spend 3 grand. Because if you think, if you just spec'd heated seats, if you spec the sports exhaust and the high gloss shadow line, that's 3 grand already, right? And then on top of that, you've got all the difference in the LSD, and then with all the chassis stiffness, the suspension, and everything else that it came with, value for money is insane. So let's find a bit more of a nicer road, and I want to see how well this car gets on, considering the conversation we just had, in some of the nice twisty, bendy roads. Back on some nice sort of windy roads now that we can really put the car through its paces and see how much difference all of that suspension, stiffening and dampening have made. The S55 does make such a nice tone, and those twin turbos just deliver such a nice linear power delivery, as we mentioned on a bit of the I wouldn't say the 0 to 60 test, but a bit of the speed test, because there's little to no turbo lag, and the boost just feels so nicely all the way through the power band. You can really rev this car out and get the most out of it, which is really, really nice. Certainly for a turbo car, it's quite rare to be able to have something that works so effortlessly right the way through the rev limiter. So in terms of the stiffness and chassis, yes, the car is stiff, which is a good thing, because if you're buying an M4 competition, that's what you want. This isn't the car for someone who wants to, it's not that it's not dailyable, it's just, it's not your preferred daily. So if you were looking for a hot performance German car, you probably wouldn't buy an M4 Comp just to drive it through the city of London and to the office every day. If you were an avid driver or enthusiast, you'd buy your M4 competition for B roads like this and to take it to the Nürburgring. For anyone who's been around the Green Hell, you may have noticed there's quite a common theme of cars there. Predominantly 2, both German. One is Porsche and the other one is BMW. There's a reason for that, and it's because they're bloody good at it. Now, I actually took this car home last night to put some miles on it to get a bit of a feel for the car, to see how I really got on with everything. And I am a little bit of a fiend for a white monster. Now, this might sound a little bit strange, is the reason why I'm going down this rabbit hole, but it just fitted quite nicely in the cup holder. Now, what I mean by that is sometimes a car is about how it makes you feel. Now, I felt very much alive listening to Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit at full volume with the white monster in the cup holder on the way to the gym. And that kind of synergizes with what a BMW M4 Competition is. It is that car. It's a rowdy car. It's for a rowdy driver, and it doesn't discredit the audience by saying that's what it is. That's what it's for. It rides harsh, but my God, when you work this car at speed, are you thankful for it? It's one of the most planted cars I've had the pleasure of driving. Not on the rear, of course, it is a bit skitty, but at speed, it holds and hugs the road so nicely. It doesn't bunny hop or bounce. Every corner, it just glides and plows, almost both. I don't know if you can glide and plow, but it just powers through so smoothly and it holds the road so beautifully well. It's such an enjoyable drive. The braking, the pedal feel is good. It is sharp. It's probably a little bit sharp for town driving as you'd expect, but again, you're not complaining when you're going into a corner at 120 mile an hour and you need a little bit of left foot braking before. It stops quick and bloody well. The only thing, there's two things I'm potentially not 100% on. The power delivery is beautiful, but the feedback through the accelerator pedal sometimes, the car isn't 100% with what I'm asking it to do based on feedback through the pedal. The steering is pretty direct. I do like the steering. The feedback isn't quite as captivating as I think it should be, and at low speeds it feels unnecessarily heavy again, but when you're working the car it all synergizes and comes together beautifully well. So when you combine all of that, you've got a very enjoyable, pleasant drive. Now, this car itself has got full service history. It has its all-important running in service as well, and it's only done 28,000 miles, so it is a really, really well kept example. And as I mentioned, it hasn't been molested. Yes, it's got quite a bit of carbon stuff on the exterior, but the actual interior of the car and also the engine and that sort of stuff is all pretty much stock. Well, not pretty much, it is stock. So it's a very clean, genuine example. It is on sale in the business now. Me and Al are going to get some exterior shots, and I'm just going to probably milk it a little bit more, I think, for the 10 minutes driving. So yeah, if you've enjoyed, please give it a like, comment and subscribe. Yeah, any feedback in the comments, and if you've got one, let us know how you get on with one, because from a short period of test drive from my end, I've thoroughly enjoyed my time in the car.